The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the rare burst of winter sun as I slammed the U-Haul door shut, my heart pounding not from the cross-country drive, but from the ghost of his voice still echoing in my ears. "You'll never find anyone who gets you like I do, Alex," Mark had said the night he left me for his real future. A promotion in New York that apparently didn't include the guy he'd promised forever to. 3,000 miles later, I was supposed to be free, but freedom felt like drowning in a city that smelled like wet pine and regret. That's when he appeared, like some cosmic joke. My new neighbor, bounding down the steps of the Victorian duplex next door with a toolbox in one hand and a grin that screamed, "I fix things for fun." Ethan Hayes, he introduced himself, all broad shoulders and easy charm, extending a hand that engulfed mine in a grip too firm for comfort. "Heard the truck pull up, figured you'd need a hand with the heavy stuff. Name's Ethan. Welcome to the neighborhood." I muttered a thanks, brushing him off, but he was already prying open the back of the truck, hauling boxes like they weighed nothing. Annoying, intrusive, and worst of all, those hazel eyes kept flicking to me, seeing too much. By dusk, half my life was stacked in the cramped living room of my new rental, a creaky two-bedroom overlooking Puget Sound that I'd chosen for its isolation. Far from Chicago's memories, far from anyone who knew me. Ethan lingered, wiping sweat from his brow with the hem of his faded flannel, chatting about the best coffee spots and warning me about the raccoons that raided trash at midnight. "You settling in all right? First time in Seattle?" His voice had that Pacific Northwest lilt, warm like the fog rolling in off the water. I nodded curtly, avoiding his gaze, the weight of unpacked photo albums burning a hole in my gut. One slipped open on the floor, marking me at Pride last year. Arms linked under a rainbow arch, Ethan's boot nudged it closed before I could snatch it away. "Looks like you've got stories," he said softly. No judgment, just that infuriating kindness. I wanted to snap at him, tell him to mind his own damn business, but the word stuck. Instead, I offered a beer from the cooler, a peace offering to get him out the door. He accepted, clinking bottles on the porch as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in bruised purples. We talked, awkwardly at first, about the move, the job I'd lined up at a graphic design firm downtown. Ethan was a high school history teacher, he said, with a side gig restoring old bikes in his garage. "Keeps me grounded," he added, his laugh low and genuine. But every time he leaned in, asking about my backstory, I felt exposed, like he could peel back the layers and find the raw edges Mark had left. By the time he left, promising to check in tomorrow, I was exhausted, slamming the door and sliding down it, the silence finally mine. Or so I thought. The next morning, a knock jolted me from a nightmare where Mark's face morphed into Ethan's, both reaching for me with hands that burned. Groggy, I yanked open the door to find him holding a paper bag, steam rising from what smelled like fresh cinnamon rolls. "Baker down the block opens at 5, he explained, thrusting it forward. "Thought you might need fuel after yesterday." My stomach growled traitorously, but irritation flared. Who was this guy, inserting himself into my fresh start like he owned the block? "I'm fine, really," I said, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. He didn't budge, those hazel depths searching mine. "Humor me. Moving solo sucks, I know. Did it last year after. Well, life stuff." The pause hung heavy, unspoken shared scars. Reluctantly, I let him in, and over sticky sweet pastry, he shared snippets. A bad breakup with a guy who'd bailed for grad school in Boston, the kind that left you questioning everything. "Thought I'd never trust again," he admitted, crumbling a piece between his fingers. "But Seattle? It's got a way of mending cracks you didn't know were there." I listened more than I spoke, the warmth of his presence chipping at my walls despite myself. He noticed the sketch pads scattered on the coffee table, my escape, doodles of fractured hearts and cityscapes, and flipped through one without asking. "These are killer, Alex. You ever show them?" Heat crept up my neck. No one had seen my real work since Mark, who'd called it too emo. Ethan's praise felt dangerous, genuine in a way that scared me. By noon, he'd roped me into helping him sand a rusty bike frame in his driveway, our shoulders brushing as we worked, laughter bubbling up when I botched a stroke and paint flecked his cheek. "You're a natural disaster," he teased, wiping it off with his thumb, his touch lingering a beat too long. My pulse stuttered, a forbidden spark in the chill air. No, I wasn't ready. Not for this, whatever this was. That night, alone with a glass of cheap red, I scrolled old texts from Mark, the ones promising eternity before the lies piled up. I love you, but I need space to grow. Space. That's what I'd given him, straight into someone else's arms. Tears blurred the screen, hot and unwelcome. A soft rap at the door pulled me back. Ethan again, this time with a six-pack and a tentative knock. Saw your light on. Bad night. How did he know? I let him in, words tumbling out in a rush. The betrayal, the move, the fear that I'd never feel whole. He listened, really listened, his knee pressing mine on the sagging couch, a silent anchor. Heartbreak's a thief, he said finally, voice rough. Steals your map, but you build a new one, piece by piece. And hey, you've got a neighbor who's pretty good at blueprints. His hand covered mine, thumb tracing a slow circle, and for the first time in months, the ache eased, just a fraction. But dawn brought clarity and regret. What was I doing, leaning on this stranger? Ethan was everything Mark wasn't, steady, unpretentious, with a quiet strength that made my chest tighten. Too much, too soon. I avoided him the next day, burying myself in job emails and unpacking, but he texted. Lunch at the pier? My treat. No pressure. I deleted it, then undelete, staring at the words until they blurred. Friendship? Fine. More? Impossible. Yet when I finally replied yes, the relief in his "see you at noon" made my resolve waver. The pier buzzed with weekend crowds, gulls wheeling overhead as we split fish and chips, salt wind whipping our hair. Ethan pointed out ferries slicing toward Bainbridge, spinning tales of field trips he'd led there, kids wide-eyed at the Orcas. Teaching's chaos, he confessed, but those moments? Worth every scraped knee. I envied his passion, the way he lit up talking about history's underdogs, queer icons who'd fought invisibility. Like us, rewriting the narrative, he said, eyes locking on mine. The subtext hummed, electric. I shifted, mentioning my own stalled dreams, designs gathering dust since the split. Mark said I was too sensitive for the industry. Ethan's jaw tightened. Mark sounds like an ass. Your work's got soul, don't let him dim that. We walked the waterfront after, shoulders bumping in the throng, his arm brushing mine as we dodged joggers. A street performer strummed a folk tune about lost loves finding home, and Ethan hummed along, off-key and endearing. At my door, he paused, hand on the railing. This was good, Alex. Real good. His gaze dipped to my lips, a question unspoken. Panic surged. I stepped back, mumbling about deadlines. Hurt flickered in his eyes, gone in a blink. Night then. The door clicked shut, leaving me hollow. Guilt gnawed through the week. Ethan kept his distance, ways from afar polite but strained. At work, my cubicle felt like a cage, sketches mocking my isolation. Friday, a coworker, Jenna, sharp-eyed and out, cornered me at the coffee machine. You look like hell. Spill. Over vending machine snacks, I did. The move. Mark, the neighbor who was worming under my skin. She grinned. Sounds like chemistry. Don't ghost him. Life's too short for what-ifs in this community. Her words echoed as I biked home, rain starting to patter. He was on his porch, strumming a guitar under the awning, chords melancholic. I stopped, helmet in hand. Hey. He looked up, surprise softening to warmth. Hey yourself. Want to join? I did. Sitting cross-legged on the damp wood, I confessed the pull-push, the fear of another fracture. I'm broken, Ethan. Not ready to drag you into that. He set the guitar aside, knees touching mine. We're all a little shattered. Doesn't make us less worthy. His fingers laced with mine, tentative. Let me in, just a crack. The kiss that followed was soft, exploratory, salt and rain and promise. Terrifying. Thrilling. But misunderstandings brew in the quiet hours. Saturday, my sister called from Chicago, voice laced with concern. Mom's asking about you. And that guy? The one who cheated. I downplayed, but she pressed. Just be careful, Alex. Not everyone's as open-minded out west. Her words, meant protective, stung like prejudice veiled as love. Hanging up, doubt crept in. Ethan's easy acceptance too good, too naive for my jagged edges. He sensed the shift at dinner. Homemade lasagna, candles flickering on his kitchen table. What's eating you? I hesitated, then blurted the call, the warnings. His fork paused. Your family's just scared for you. But I'm not them. Hurt edged his tone, a crack in the facade. I've got my own baggage, folks who still whisper about the phase I went through in college. The vulnerability hit hard. We were mirrors, reflecting fears we'd both buried. Laughter bridged it later, over wine, sharing stupid ex stories until the clock struck midnight. Yet tension simmered. Midweek, a package arrived. Mark's old jacket, shipped by mistake, with a note. Missed you in the cold. Come back. My hands shook as I stuffed it in a drawer, but Ethan saw the address. X. Jealousy sharpened his eyes, rare and raw. Yeah, I admitted, defenseless. Silence stretched, broken by his sigh. Talk to me, don't shut down. The argument erupted soft at first, me accusing him of hovering, him calling out my walls. I can't fix you if you won't let me try. Doors slammed that night, echoes of old pains. Reconciliation came slow, over coffee the next dawn. I'm sorry, I whispered, tracing his knuckles. Scared I'll ruin this. He pulled me close. We ruined together, or not at all. Friendship deepened there, laced with more late-night talks on the roof, stargazing through city haze, his head on my shoulder as we dreamed aloud. But surprises lurked. Ethan's best friend, Riley, a fiery trans woman with a laugh like thunder, barreled into our lives at a neighborhood potluck, eyeing me like a specimen. So you're the one thawing his ice? Over grilled veggies, she grilled me on intentions, prejudices surfacing in her tales of lost loves who'd bailed at labels. Ethan defended, arm around my waist, but the night ended with her warning. Hurt him, and I'll bury you in bad Yelp reviews. Laughter masked the edge, but it lingered, reminder that trust was a fragile bridge. Weeks blurred into rhythm, mornings with his coffee runs, evenings sketching while he graded papers, our worlds entwining. Yet conflict brewed deeper. My promotion at work meant travel, LA pitches, New York meetings, echoes of Mark's excuses. It's just work, I assured Ethan one night, but his grip tightened. Feels like history repeating. Insecurity flared. We fought in whispers, accusations of abandonment slicing air. You think I'm him? I yelled, storming out into the drizzle. Alone at a bar, nursing a whiskey, old habits called. Mark's number lit my phone, a drunk dial temptation. I resisted, but the voicemail he left hours later twisted the knife. Heard you're seeing someone. Careful, he'll never understand the real you like I did. Lies, all of it, but doubt seeded. Climax hit at Ethan's school fundraiser, a drag bingo night in the gym, rainbows draping bleachers, queens slaying MC duties. I arrived late, soaked, to find him on stage, auctioning a date with the hot teacher basket. Bids soared, laughter roared, but his eyes found mine in the crowd, relief flooding. Backstage after, amid glitter and hugs, Riley pulled me aside. He's terrified you'll bolt. The truth crashed, my fears mirroring his, a cycle we'd break or drown in. We drove home silent, tension thick as fog. At his door, words exploded. I love you, he blurted raw. But if you're not all in. I kissed him fierce, tasting salt. Tears rain. I am. God, Ethan, I am. Confessions poured. Mark's call, my terror of repeating pain. He held me as sobs racked, prejudices crumbling, mine, families, societies, in the flood. Healing unfolded in fragments. Family visit from Chicago brought tests, mom's awkward hugs, dad's stiff silences over Ethan's name. But Ethan's grace, sharing stories of his own coming out scars, softened edges. We're family now, he told them, hand in mine. They left changed, a seed planted. Surprises sweetened the path. Ethan's proposal for a joint art history project, my designs paired with his narratives for a queer youth exhibit. Conflicts arose, gallery politics, bigoted donors, but triumphs followed. Opening night a whirlwind of pride, our first public kiss under spotlights. Through it all, friendship anchored. Riley's brunches dissecting dramas, late calls with Jenna trading triumphs. Misunderstandings? Plenty, a misinterpreted text sparking jealousy, a forgotten anniversary mended with rooftop apologies. But each forged us stronger, characters evolving from guarded survivors to bold lovers. In the end, as spring bloomed over Seattle, we stood on the pier where it began, his arm around me, waves whispering futures. Heartbreak's shadow lingered, but Ethan's light, persistent, unyielding, had healed what I couldn't alone. "Ready for the next chapter?" he murmured. I nodded, heart full. "With you? Always." The exhibit opening lingered in my veins like champagne bubbles, the gallery's white walls alive with murmurs and clinking glasses as strangers praised our work. My bold illustrations of hidden queer histories intertwined with Ethan's meticulous timelines, a tapestry of resilience that had taken months of bleary-eyed nights. We'd argued over every caption, his pedantry clashing with my flair, but seeing it now, under the soft glow of pendant lights, felt like vindication. "You two make a hell of a team," the curator had said, clapping Ethan on the back, and I'd caught the double meaning in her wink, heat rising as his fingers brushed mine in silent agreement. But beneath the thrill, a knot twisted, Mark's last email, unread in my inbox, a digital specter I'd ignored for weeks. Back home, the high crashed. Ethan crashed on the couch, tie loosened, feet in my lap as rain pattered the windows. "We did it," he sighed, pulling me down for a lazy kiss that tasted of victory and Merlot. "Proud of us." I hummed agreement, but my mind wandered to the promotion email from work, a 6-month stint in Portland, leading a team on a national campaign. Opportunity of a lifetime, or another escape hatch. I hadn't told him yet, the words sticking like thorns. His breathing evened into sleep, and I slipped away, phone in hand, finally opening Mark's message. "Saw your show online. Impressive, but you know it was always me who pushed you." Venom wrapped in nostalgia, stirring the old wound. Delete. Block. Still, sleep evaded, ghosts whispering doubts. Morning brought forced normalcy, coffee brewing as Ethan shuffled in, hair a glorious mess. "Spill," he said over mugs, those hazel eyes unerring. I hedged, then confessed the offer, watching his face cycle through pride to shadow. "Portland? That's huge, Alex." But the pause betrayed him. 6 months. Away. We talked it through, voices steady, mapping visits and video calls, but the undercurrent pulled, fear of distance breeding distance. "It's not Mark," I insisted, cupping his face. "This is us, building." He nodded, but the kiss goodbye at his classroom door felt fragile, a thread stretched thin. Work swallowed me. Sketches for the Portland pitch, late nights at the firm where Jenna became confidant, her divorce-fresh cynicism a bomb. "Don't overthink," she advised over takeout. "Ethan's solid, trust that." But trust frayed when Riley texted a photo. Ethan at a bar with colleagues, arms slung around a cute barista, laughter frozen mid-frame. Context? Harmless team unwind. My gut twisted anyway, insecurities roaring. I fired off a snippy message, "Fun night?" regretting it instantly as his reply pinged. "What's wrong?" Call it miscommunication, call it my damage. I shut down, claiming exhaustion. The fight simmered cold over days. He left voicemails, patient, pleading, while I buried in deadlines, the promotion contract looming unsigned. Culmination came Friday, me dragging home to find him on the porch, 6-pack in hand, expression stormy. "Talk." Now. Inside, accusations flew, my withdrawal a wall, his photo a trigger. "You think I'd cheat? After everything?" Hurt cracked his voice, mirroring mine. "I saw the email from Mark. Snooped?" "Yeah. I'm sorry, but it explains the ice." Betrayal stung. I'd hidden it to protect us, but secrets bred monsters. Tears came, mine first, then his, as we stripped bare. Fears of inadequacy, echoes of past abandonments. "I need you to fight for this," he whispered, forehead to mine. "With me, not against." I signed the contract that night, but with a caveat, remote options, tethering us close. Portland proved the crucible. First weeks blurred. Hotel anonymity, client schmoozes where I pitched with fire, Ethan's nightly calls the lifeline. "Miss your sketches cluttering the table," he'd say, voice tinny through speakers. But distance amplified cracks, missed calls from time zones, my exhaustion snapping short. One night, after a grueling presentation, I vented about a colleague's subtle shade. "Too colorful for corporate, huh?" And Ethan's silence spoke volumes. "Sounds like the old you, doubting." Ouch. We hung up raw, Reconciliation via text marathon at dawn. Surprise arrived mid-month. A care package at my door, Ethan's scrawl on the note, fuel for the warrior. Inside, my favorite sketch pads, his annotated history books, a mixtape of Seattle indie tracks, and a locket with our photo from the pier, tiny and cherished. Tears blurred as I called, voice breaking. "You're impossible." His laugh warmed. Learned from the best. That weekend, he flew down unannounced, crashing my hotel room with takeout and tales, our reunion tangled in sheets. Not passion's fire, but comfort's glow, reaffirming in whispers. Back in Seattle, growth bloomed. I returned changed, bolder, the promotion a badge not burden. Ethan threw a welcome bash, Riley emceeing with toasts that roasted our will the won't they phase. Laughter healed, but prejudices lingered. A student parent's complaint about Ethan's agenda in class, forcing a meeting where he defended with quiet steel. I stood beside, hand in his under the table, solidarity unspoken. "They're scared of what they don't know," he said later, over ice cream on the stoop. Like I was once. Friendship wove tighter. Jenna met Riley at a queer book club, sparks flying in debates over sapphic lit, pulling us into a circle that felt like chosen family. Misunderstandings? A birthday mix-up, me forgetting Ethan's in the launch chaos. Mended with a custom bike restore, my hands blistered but heart full. Conflicts peaked at a family reunion invite from my side. Mom's tentative, "Bring your friend." We went, tensions electric. Dad's gruff questions about the teaching gig, but Ethan's charm disarmed, sharing Civil War queer trivia that hooked even Uncle Ray. Progress, incremental. Climax brewed unexpected. Mark's reappearance, in flesh at a design conference I keynote. He cornered me post-talk, suit sharp, smile practiced. "You look good, Alex." Thriving. Venom in velvet. Probing about Ethan. "He know the real you?" The parts one shaped. Rage simmered. I walked, but not before texting Ethan the play-by-play. His arrival hours later, driving through night, found me pacing the lobby. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." The confrontation was ours. Mark slinking away as Ethan claimed me with a kiss, public and unapologetic. "He's history," Ethan murmured. "We're now." Healing deepened in aftermath. Therapy sessions, joint, then solo, unpacked layers, my abandonment wounds, his fear of invisibility. "We're not fixed," he said one evening, stargazing. "Just mending, together." Surprises sweetened. Ethan's tenure track offer, my gallery solo show. Through it, love evolved. Not fairy tale, but earned, with friends as witnesses to joys and jars. As autumn leaves carpeted our street, we hosted a block party, rain held at bay by string lights and shared stories. Riley proposed a toast. "To the pains that led here and the hands that hold." Glasses clinked, Ethan's eyes on mine, promising tomorrows. Heartbreak's scar faded, replaced by this, messy, profound, ours. Winter's grip loosened grudgingly that year, Seattle's gray skies cracking to reveal patches of defiant blue, mirroring the tentative optimism threading through our days as Ethan and I navigated the post-conference glow. Mark's shadow had lifted, but echoes reverberated. Nights when I'd wake gasping from dreams of his grip, Ethan's arms pulling me back to solidity with murmured anchors. "Here. Now. Us." We'd laugh it off come morning. Over pancakes he burned just right. But the work continued, quiet and deliberate, in the therapy couch where Dr. Lena coaxed out the thorns we'd carried too long. One such session spilled into reality when Ethan's school hosted a panel on inclusive education, him moderating with that effortless poise that made my chest swell. I sat front row, sketching the crowd, diverse faces, from skeptical parents to beaming kids, when a heckler rose mid-talk, voice slicing. "This isn't history, it's propaganda. Keep your lifestyle out of my kid's classroom." The room tensed, breaths held, but Ethan didn't flinch. "History is everyone's story," he replied, calm as lake water, "including those erased too long. Questions welcome, bigotry not so much." Applause rippled, the man slinking out, but later in the car, Ethan's hands trembled on the wheel. "Hate's loud, but it's losing," I said, squeezing his thigh. He nodded, but vulnerability lingered, a reminder that progress wasn't linear. Friendship buffered the blows. Riley, now Jenna's official chaos partner, dragged us to a queer comedy night at a dive bar, where punchlines about bad hookups and family dinners had us wiping tears. Laughter's best medicine. See, Riley elbowed me post-show. You two are disgustingly cute. Don't screw it up. Her protectiveness, born of her own scars, transition battles with unsupportive kin, grounded us, a fierce ally in the web we'd spun. Yet misunderstandings festered in subtleties. My solo show loomed, a nerve-fraying beast of deadlines and doubts, Ethan's tenure prep mirroring the frenzy. One evening, buried in notes, he snapped at my scattered pencils invading his space. Can't you organize for once? Petty, exhaustion-fueled, but it landed like accusation, echoing Mark's nitpicks. I stormed to the studio, door clicking with finality, spending hours slashing canvas in fury. His apology came at midnight, takeout in hand, eyes red-rimmed. I'm the mess here, stress talking. We talked till dawn, unpacking how our drives clashed. His structure a shield, my chaos a spark. Compromise born, shared desk, color-coded chaos. Surprise arrived wrapped in newsprint. A local paper feature on our exhibit, couples canvas, queer tales reclaimed, with photos of us mid-laugh at the opening. Pride surged, but so did exposure, trolls online spewing vitriol, dredging old wounds. Ethan fielded a call from his mom that night, her voice tinny on speaker. Honey, this is wonderful, but be careful. Not everyone's kind. Old prejudices, softened but persistent. We countered with a road trip, spontaneous, to Olympic National Park. Hiking misty trails where ferns whispered forgiveness. Camping under stars where he traced constellations on my skin, stories shared like secrets. Back home, conflict crested at my show's preview. Critics circled, one sniping in whispers. Derivative. Seen this queer angst before. Doubt Claude. I texted Ethan a frantic cancel. His reply, video of him and Riley hanging my pieces, cheers echoing. He arrived with flowers, chin up. It's you raw real. Own it. Opening night dazzled. Sales, sobs from viewers touched by a piece on fractured first loves. Ethan cornered me amid the crowd, kiss stealing breath. Told you. But climax brewed familial. My parents announced a visit. Unprompted, post-paper clip. Mom's emails laced with curiosity. Tell us about Ethan. Excitement warred with dread, Dad's silences loomed. We prepped, menu planned, stories rehearsed. Arrival day, airport hugs awkward but warm, Dad's grip firmer than memory. Dinner unfolded tentative. Ethan's charm weaving tales of Lewis and Clark's queer subtext, Mom laughing, Dad nodding. But post-meal, alone with me, Dad cleared throat. He's good for you, son. Just happy. The question cracked open floods. Mark's ghost, my fears. Happier than ever, I said, voice steady. Tears in his eyes. That's all I want. Healing rippled outward. Ethan's tenure interview followed, nerves electric. I paced outside the dean's office, Riley smuggling coffee. He emerged beaming, accepted, with a nod to our collaborative spirit. Celebration at the pier, toasts to futures, waves lapping promises. Yet surprises twisted sweet sour. A letter from Mark's lawyer, settling shared assets from our split, cold legalese stirring silt. Ethan read it aloud, voice even. Close the book. We burned it in the sink, flames dancing like exorcism, ashes swirled down drain with laughter. Through tensions, a funding cut threatening Ethan's program, mended by community rally, love deepened, characters honed. Me, bolder in vulnerability. Him, softer in strength. Friends amplified. Jenna and Riley's engagement bash. Us as best witnesses. Vows echoing our unspoken wants. As snow-dusted evergreens, we volunteered at a youth center, sharing our exhibit. Kids' eyes wide, questions hungry. One boy, shy with his sketch, murmured, "Thanks for showing it's okay." Ethan's glance met mine, purpose found. Winter's in brought bloom. Cherry blossoms framing our block as we walked, hands linked. "What now?" he asked, breath fogging. "Everything," I replied. Heartbreak's echo faint, healing song loud. Ours, enduring. Spring unfurled in Seattle like a hesitant confession, cherry petals carpeting sidewalks in pink confetti as Ethan and I fell into a rhythm that felt dangerously close to forever. Mornings tangled in sheets, his alarm pulling us to jogs along the waterfront, where we'd pause to watch seals bob in the Sound, trading dreams over post-run lattes. The youth center gig had hooked us deeper, weekly sessions where I'd lead art workshops, Ethan weaving historical threads, kids blooming under attention they'd craved. One girl, Mia, with braids and a sketchpad clutched like armor, cornered me after. "Your stories make mine less scary." Her words lodged, a talisman against the world's sharper edges. But harmony hid fractures. Ethan's program funding stabilized, but bureaucracy bit back. A new administrator, Ms. Hargrove, with a clipboard smile and eyes that narrowed at inclusive initiatives. "We must balance perspectives," she said in a meeting Ethan recounted over dinner, fork-stabbing pasta. "Like, equal time for traditional views. Prejudice polished corporate." He laughed it off, but tension coiled. I saw it in his late grading nights, jaw set. "Fight it," I urged, sketching a protest poster on a napkin, fists raised in rainbow ink. He kissed my temple. "With you? Always." Friendship fortified, Jenna and Riley's wedding planning turned us into errand mules, tasting cakes that stuck to teeth, debating vows over wine. "Elope," Riley groaned one night, head on Jenna's shoulder. "Screw tradition." Their banter mirrored ours, a mirror of joys and jabs, reminding that love's work, not fairy dust. Misunderstanding struck sly. A gallery scout emailed about my work, national tour potential, but it meant months on the road, coasts to coasts. Excitement buzzed. I blurted it at breakfast, Ethan's toast pausing mid-bite. "Tour? Like gone." Pride warred with shadow in his eyes. "It's huge," he said, forcing smile. But later, unpacking boxes from the attic, old love letters from his Boston ex tumbled out. He froze, reading one aloud. "Distance killed us." Subtext screamed, my tour echoed ghosts. "Not us," I insisted, crumpling the paper. He nodded, but doubt lingered, seeding silence. Surprise sweetened the strain. Riley's bachelorette, a ferry cruise to Bainbridge, where we danced on deck under stars, wind whipping secrets. Ethan pulled me aside mid-twirl. Scared, but proud. "Go conquer." Kiss salty with C, reaffirming. Back, we mapped the tour. His visits penciled, calls scheduled, like architects of trust. Conflict escalated at school. Hargrove's balance morphed to cuts, queer history electives on the chopping block. Ethan rallied, petitions, parent meets, but backlash brewed, anonymous notes in his mailbox. "Stick to facts, not fantasies." Hate's whisper amplified online, doxing threats forcing police reports. He downplayed, but I found him at midnight, staring at walls, coffee cold. "Can't let them win," he muttered. Rage boiled. We strategized till dawn, community forum, media push. I designed flyers, fierce and unyielding. Climax crested at the forum, jam-packed with allies and adversaries. Hargrove droned policy, but Ethan rose, voice steel. "Education isn't balance, it's truth. Our kids deserve mirrors, not masks." Applause thundered, but a parent lunged verbal. "You're indoctrinating." Chaos swirled. I gripped his hand under the table, anchor. Post-mayhem, victory small, electives spared, Hargrove sidelined. But toll exacted. Ethan exhausted, faith frayed. "Home," he collapsed against me. "Worth it?" "Every scar," I whispered, holding through shakes. Healing wove slow. Therapy shifted focus, resilience rituals, like joint journaling where we'd pen fears, burn pages in the yard, ashes to wind. Family bridged too. My parents, emboldened, visited again, Dad gifting Ethan a history tome, for the teacher. Awkward, profound. Yet surprises Jarrett. Tour prep unearthed Mark's final jab, a blog post, him claiming credit for my breakthrough, viral in niche circles. Fury flashed. Ethan scrolled with me, then closed the laptop. "Let him fade. You're yours." We countered with a joint interview. Our story, unfiltered, airing pains and triumphs. Response a wave of support. Through it, characters carved deeper. Ethan's quiet fire tempered to advocacy blaze. Mine, chaos channeled to creation's roar. Friends celebrated milestones. Riley Jenna nuptials under arches of wildflowers, us toasting with tears, vows vowing vulnerability. Summer simmered in, tour launch looming. We hiked Rainier one weekend, summit views stealing breath, his hand in mine. Come back to this. Promise etched in granite. As petals gave to sun, our block buzzed with garden plots, neighbors planting together, barriers blurring. One evening, porch swings sway, Ethan murmured, "Towards your sky, fly." Heart full, I leaned in, with roots here. Healing's arc bent toward light, unbreakable. Summer's heat wave baked Seattle into a reluctant simmer, the usual drizzle traded for sun that turned our duplex into a greenhouse of potted herbs and half-read books. As the tour's shadow lengthened over our calendar like an approaching storm, I'd packed light, sketch pads, Ethan's mixtape on loop, but the goodbye at the airport clung, his hug fierce enough to bruise, lips brushing ear. Call when you land. Love you. The words, still fresh after a year, landed like lifelines as I boarded. Chicago layover, stirring old ghosts before LA's sprawl swallowed me. First stop dazzled, gallery in Silver Lake, walls alive with my pieces, queer icons reimagined in bold strokes. Harvey Milk as a phoenix, Marsha P. Johnson midwave. Crowd murmured approval, collectors circling, but solitude bit post-reception, hotel room echoing. FaceTime with Ethan crackled. Room's too big without you. His classroom chaos backdrop. Kids' artwork taped crooked, grounded me. Tell Mia her flowers in the show. Laughter bridged miles, but nights stretched, doubts whispering. Am I enough afar? Friendships stretched digital. Group chat with Riley and Jenna exploding in memes and check-ins. Riley's "Don't ghost us for fame," masking worry. Ethan's updates, school's fall prep, a new bike restore, painted normalcy, but subtext tugged. A photo of him at coffee with a colleague, casual arm drape. Insecurity flared. I texted snippy, "Making friends?" Reply swift, "Jealous? Miss you more." Call followed, voices raw. It's nothing. Trust the space. Lesson learned. Miles be damned. Misunderstanding brewed in transit. Denver stop, exhausted from red-eye. I missed his call. Presentation ran long. Voicemail. Everything okay? Radio silence scares me. Panic misfired. He thought ghosting. I thought overwhelm. Texts volleyed accusations. Pushing away. Buried in work. Escalating to silence. Crisis averted by layover. Flowers delivered to my gate. Note. Breathe. We're good. Tears in terminal. Call reconciling. Space isn't absence. Forged stronger, virtually. Surprise arrived in San Francisco. A collab invite from a trans artist I'd admired. Her work echoing Mia's sketches. Your show's inspiring ripples, she said over dim sum. Ethan's pride echoed in texts. Knew you'd spark. But conflict shadowed. Hargrove's revenge, demoting Ethan's lead on a field trip, neutrality concerns. Rage boiled across calls. I plotted from afar, crowdsourcing petition signatures via social. Fight dirty if needed, I urged. He did. Ally parents stormed board, reinstating with apology. Victory tasted bittersweet, Miles muting cheers. Climax hit in New York. Irony's cruel joke, Mark City. Panel on queer narratives, me speaking on Heartbreak's art. When he slipped in back row, eyes locked like daggers. Post-talk, confrontation inevitable, lobby ambush. His "we need to talk" laced false concern. Ethan's rebound, you'll see. Venom unmasked my fury. You don't get to define me. Security loomed. I walked, heart hammering, calling Ethan midcap. He was there. His voice steel, "You're safe. Home soon." Catharsis in tears, his virtual hold mending. Healing unfolded on Route West. Therapy via app, Dr. Lena's prompts, gratitude lists, Ethan's topping mine. Family check-in, mom's package of care, cookies, pride pins, for your man. Progress palpable. Back in Seattle, autumn's chill welcomed. Airport reunion, his run through crowd, tackle hug lifting feet. Missed your chaos, he breathed. Debrief over pie. Tour tales, his battles, love's endurance affirmed. Yet surprises lingered. A publisher approached. Book deal, my art with Ethan's essays. Our story, he grinned, signing papers side by side. Conflicts? Book tour overlaps, but synced. Joint appearances, hands linked on stages. Characters evolved. My road-worn confidence, his homefront resilience. Friends anchored. Riley's pregnancy announce. Aunt Alex, Uncle Ethan. Expanding circle. As leaves turned, we leaf peeped in the cascades, colors riotous. What if we wrote the ending? He mused, head on shoulder. We are, I replied. Healings weave, vibrant, vast. Autumn's palette painted Seattle in fire and gold, the air crisp with fallen leaves crunching underfoot as Ethan and I dove into the book project, our duplex transforming into a warren of manuscripts and mood boards, coffee rings staining drafts like badges of creation. The deal felt surreal, a queer press hungry for our blend of art and archive. But deadlines loomed like winter's edge, pulling late nights where I'd ink pages while he paced, reciting prose aloud, his voice weaving history's threads into something alive, urgent. This could change things, he'd say, eyes alight, and I'd nod, heart swelling, though doubt nipped. Would readers see us, or just the labels? Friendship buzzed supportive. Riley, glowing through first trimester, hosted baby brainstorm brunches, her and Jenna's nest a riot of tiny onesies and big dreams. Name it after a queer icon. I teased, sketching a onesie design, little fists raised. Laughter flowed, but her quiet aside to me later. Ethan's glowing. Don't let the book dim that. Hit home. Reminder to balance ink with intimacy. Misunderstandings sparked innocuous. A co-author note from the press, suggesting, tone down the romance. Focus on activism. Ethan's hackles rose. Erasing us again? And I, jet-lagged from a promo trip, snapped back. It's business, not betrayal. Words escalated in email chains, him accusing dilution, me defending compromise. Silence fell heavy. Reconciliation over walk in Discovery Park, paths winding like our talk. We're the story, he conceded, hand squeezing. No edits there. Surprise arrived festive. Holiday invite from his family. Thanksgiving in Portland. His sister insisting, bring the artist. Nerves jangled. His folks, progressive on paper, but past visits held veiled probes. We prepped anecdotes, but arrival thawed. His mom's hug fierce. Dad's grill tales laced with Ethan's lucky. Dinner discourses on suffrages lesbians warmed. By pie, his sister whispered, you make him brave. Tears pricked, acceptance earned. Conflict crested bookside. Advance copies leaked online. Trolls twisting excerpts into woke propaganda. Threats flooding Ethan's inbox. Cancel the launch. I fretted, pacing kitchen. He stilled me. No. We amplify. Rally cry to allies. Riley's viral thread. Jenna's podcast plug. Turn tide. Sales spiking defiant. Climax unfolded launch night. Bookstore packed. Rainbow banners fluttering. Us at podium. Me sketching live. Him reading a piece on love's quiet revolutions. Midway, a protester disrupted. This divides. But crowd drowned. Chants of love wins, rising. Post-chaos, signing lines snaking, one fan. A teen with trembling hands. Thanked. You gave words to my silence. Ethan's glance met mine. Purpose incarnate. Healing cascaded after. Therapy wrapped a chapter. Graduation with hugs from Dr. Lena. Family fused. My parents Skyped pie. Toasting to stories shared. Yet surprises deepened bonds. Ethan's surprise proposal. Not ring, but vow renewal under peer lights. Friends circling, words whispered. Choose you again. Tears, yes, joy's flood. Through winter's hush, characters culminated. Advocates unbowed, lovers entwined. Friends' circle swelled. Baby Riley Jenna's arrival, our godparent vows. As New Year dawned, snow blanketing sound, we toasted on roof. To healings held. Heartbreak's whisper gone. Harmony's hum eternal. Ours, infinite.